All right, Philly. All right, National fans. All right, Philly fans. It's that time again. It's that time again. It is off-season time. As always, another October heartbreak, another early exit. And now all we can do is go forward and ask ourselves who stays, who goes from Suarez, Castellanos, from bullpen arms to the bench. This offseason, literally, in my opinion, could change everything for the Phillies. And I got a lot of statistics that I want to back up from it, man, that I've read. I want to talk to you about and see where you're going. Question is, man, of the night, do you blow it up or do you start fresh? Or do you run it back one more time with the same core that just fell short in LA, that has fallen short multiple years in a row? Again, I'm Tony Cutillo. As always, let's break it all down, free agent by free agent, situation by situation, because honestly, some of these decisions, in my opinion, the way I would do it may shock you. Again, as always, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. Ricky Sports Fan, what's up, brother? How you doing, my man? And again, as always, hit the notification bell. Okay, hit the subscribe. Get your comments. Listen, I'm gonna put it right in the box right here. Who stays? Who goes? Drop your predictions right here. Drop your predictions, hot takes. It doesn't matter. What everyone talk. It's Saturday night. It's Saturday night. Some people out the bar getting lit. Me, I'm here drinking coffee, talking to everybody else because that's the way my life rolls. Okay, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on X, okay, wherever it is. Obviously, you're on YouTube. You're in here, but get over that YouTube page. Make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know how you're feeling because I want to play some. I got some things to play for you tonight. I got some things from Sean Casey from MLB Network. I want you guys to listen to. I got some stuff from J Roll. Want you guys to listen to. And again, I had the numbers. We have a great article in ESPN that I found from David Schoenfield that I want to share specific areas of this article. Okay, before we even get to who's a free agent, who's not a free agent, yeah, it makes everything come in perspective. Now that the dust is settled, now that the stuff is kind of it's never going to blow over, but now we're looking forward, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. And now we're looking forward to the off season. Now we're looking forward to next year, and we're all wondering, okay, where do we go? Right? Where do we go? And I don't want to see the Kirk ring play anymore. I'm being honest with you. I don't care. It's over. It's not going to change. Okay. None of that is going to change. What's going to change now is the way that we present ourselves, going into the future. Okay. That's the way that's the way things are going to change is going into the future. Do we want to run it back again? Right? Do we want to run it back again? And that's going to be one of these biggest questions. Adam checking in says they got to blow it up. Fire Rob. Cassie should be gone. Bohm gone. Sign Schwarber. Get rid of Alvarado. Maybe Ranger too. Ricky says, Tony, all these Brewers fans are saying wow. So obviously the Brewers win tonight in Game 5. They take care of business. And Ricky's saying the Brewers fans are saying that they're going to beat the Dodgers because they were 6-0 versus some of the regular season, but the Dodgers are back at full strength. Now the Brewers are done. Listen, I'm going to be 100% honest. There's no way in my mind that anybody in baseball right now is going to beat the Dodgers. Honestly, I mean, I'm being dead ass, okay? Because you witnessed what they did against Philadelphia, what they did against us, and how bad they were offensively. That is not going to last. That is not going to last. So if I were Milwaukee, I would be legitimately scared. I wouldn't be saying anything because I am telling you right now, Ohtani going off. Okay? Mookie Betts going off. Freddie Freeman going off. When those dudes get lit and they get hot, nobody is stopping them. Nobody. Okay? Nobody is stopping them. Now, before I read this article about the Phillies impending free agents, let's look I want to at least show. Let's bring it up on let's bring this up on the screen right now. So these are your notable free agents. Okay, your notable free agents right now. You got obviously Kyle Schwarber, obviously JT Realmuto. We know about that. These guys are free agents that they can go anywhere. Ranger Suarez, Max Kepler, David Robertson, Jordan Romano. Now, the interesting one for me, okay, is going to be you have Jose Alvarado with a club option, which is obviously means it's up to the Phillies, depending on what that club option is. And then you have the all important Harrison Bader. And I am locked in on saying we need to bring back Harrison Bader at all costs. Now, I'm being honest with you. I don't know what a mutual option means. If there's anybody out there, if there's a baseball purist, I listen, when I don't know things, I just don't talk out my ass and just try to figure them out on the fly. I don't know what a mutual option is. Okay. Does that mean they have to agree? Or, does that mean there's an option there for maybe because Bader got traded here? So obviously he brought that contract with him, and maybe in that contract language, there's an option, but it has to be mutually agreed upon between the Phillies and Bader and his agent. I don't know. All I know is that we need to figure out a way because it's the first time in how long that we actually had somebody to lock down center field. And we look damn good as well. So these are where we're at with the free agents. Okay. So I want you guys to think about that as we go forward here. All right. I want you to think about that as we go forward. Think about these guys as free agents. Now, here's another thing I want to show you. Okay. Another fascinating thing. Look at the 2026 age right now. Look at the 2026 age. Zach Wheeler, 36. Bryce Harper, 33. Trey Turner, 33. Aaron Nola, 33. Kyle Schwarber, impending free agent, all in yellow, 33. JT Realmuto, 35. Ranger Suarez, 30. These are huge numbers. Now, we're going to come back to this, but I want you to think about that for a second. Now, Adam checking in and telling me, thank you. Adam says, mutual option is the team and player have to agree on the contract. Okay, so it's kind of like what I thought. So I'm curious the way that's going to be. Ricky says Phillies will be okay as long as they keep all their players. And I don't think that's possible, right? My man Food checking in, Fuji Flair checking in Monday night, 7 p.m. Check it out. He says, Tony, what's good? It'll be an interesting offseason. Yes. Food's very, very interesting. My man David checking in says, Tony, Milwaukee Brewers will win against the Dodgers in this series. David, I think you're dead wrong. But listen, it is a playoff, so anything can happen, right? It is a playoff, so anything can happen. Ricky says, Brewers aren't that scary of a team. When they beat the Dodgers in the regular season, the Dodgers have players injured and going to be laughing when the Dodgers humble the Brewers. Yeah, I do. I'm all in on the Dodgers, man. Like seriously, I am all in on the Dodgers. So these numbers are interesting. Now, let me I want to take you to first. I want to read you an article, and I'm not going to read the whole article, but I want to take bits and pieces from the article. Okay. Now, as I do that, I'm going to keep this up on screen. Okay. Because I want you to think about this. I want you to think about these ages. And when I read you this, I want you to think, again, what does this say to you? Okay. These are some of the great points. The article was after Major League Baseball playoff exit, how long can the Phillies keep contending? That's from David Schoenfield on ESPN.com. Now, I just grabbed about three paragraphs worth of stuff that I think is very, very important. Okay. The Phillies are 3-10 in their past 13 postseason games, 2-8 in their past 10. In those 10 games, they've hit 195 as a team. Harper has hit 206, 1 home run, and 3 RBIs. Schwarber, 162, 3 home runs, and 4 RBIs. 2 of those and 3 of those came in game 3, like we saw. The others around them didn't fare any better in those 10 losses. That's Turner, Stott, Brandon Marsh, each hitting under 200, under the Mendoza line. The organization is at a critical juncture, it says, one that eerily resembles another Phillies era. And this is where it gets interesting. We're going to talk about the 2007 and 2011 teams that won 5 consecutive NL East titles and the World Series in 08. If anything, that group was even more talented than this one. And the best of those teams was a 2011 squad, I think we'll all agree, that won 102 games, only to lose in the NLDS. But look what happened to the Phillies as the front office tried to keep winning with the same team. Now, we remember this. This was Ruben Amaro Jr., and I do not blame Rube at all. I love what Rube did. He went all in. He wanted to keep it going. He saw a vision. He said that window's still open. We have an opportunity. Let's go for it. In 2012, they finished 81-81. In 2013, they finished 73-89. In 2014, they finished 73-89, last place in the division. In 2015, they hit rock bottom and finished an MLB worst 63-99. The similarities between the Phillies of the past 4 years and those 07 to 011 teams are even a little more eerier. Obviously, we're talking about those years they try to keep it going, and then what happened right after that, right? So, in 2011, the NLDS ended 1-0. We remember St. Louis Cardinals. We remember the unfortunate final play. Ryan Howard tears his Achilles. Then you have the ace of the staff of Roy Halladay, who won 19 games and posted an 8.8 WAR, was never the same again after suffering a shoulder injury the next season. Who does that remind you of? Again, Wheeler, who posted a 5 WAR before the season ended with a blood clot, will have to overcome this major injury at age 35. The same age Roy Halladay was in 2012. Now, I'm not trying to be ultimately negative here, but I want to explain to everybody what this is all about. I want to explain to everybody what we're looking at, right? We have to be looking at this. It's so important. We can't just go out there and throw our chests in the air, just bring them all back. Who cares? Stupid money, sign them all. We have to be really, really smart about this, okay? We have to be smart. Now, let me finish. The average weighted age of the 2011 Phillies positional players was 31 and a half. Now, look at this image up on the screen. The oldest in the NL. The average of the 2025 Phillies, the position players, was 30 and a half. Second oldest in the National League. Just remember that. And then the 011 Phillies had locked themselves into some hefty long-term contracts with older players. Howard, again, signed the 5-year, $125 deal. Cliff Lee had the $120 million extension, right? And again, it was before I'm sorry, hold on. Cliff Lee had signed the $120 million extension running through 15, but he got hurt and won just 4 games in 14 and never even pitched in 2015. They banked on Utley, Rollins to remain stars as they entered their age 33 season, and it didn't happen. And look at that graphic, people. What is the age that you're looking at right now? 36, 33, 33, 33, 33, 35, and 30. Let's think about it. People, we need to think about it. The 2025 Phillies have similar issues with Wheeler, making $42 million next 2 seasons. Nola signed through 2030 and are banking on Harper and Turner to remain productive as they enter their 33 age season in 2026. Again, that article on ESPN by David Schoenfield. Check it out. Okay, it's fantastic. It is a long article, but it gives you a lot of credible content in there to really think about this. And I was on the other side until I read this article. Okay. Until I read this article because I started thinking it over and over and over again. What do we do? Right? What do we do? There's the notable free agents once again. What do we do? Okay. And I don't, I'm going to be honest with you. Everything is so up in the air right now when you think about it because of the ages. Okay. Because of the ages. It legitimately is because of the ages. And if you're telling me you're not worried about the ages, I think you're out of your mind. Now, checking it. Yeah. Adam says they need to get younger, bring up the youth from the minors. I agree. That's another great point. And I continue to talk about that. Foods wants to know, will Topper be back? Will Topper be back? I don't know, man. I've been thinking about that a lot. Okay. I'm to the point where I think he has to go. Listen, the the problem that I have, and I want everybody again, if you're checking in, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, man. Keep this thing going. Greatly appreciate it. My name is Tony Cutillo. I host the Tony Cutillo Show. Make sure you're following at Tony Cutillo Show on all social formats. But talking about Topper, it's eerily similar to me of a guy like Andy Reid. How many NFC championships do we have to get to before we figure out he can't get us over the top for whatever reason, right? Sometimes it's just here. And the other thing is, a lot of these players, I think they take things for granted, and I think that they need a real big shot in the ass sometimes to be like, okay, man, like now it's go time, and they love Topper, they love playing for Topper, but maybe allowing Topper to walk, well, basically, you would give him his walking papers, right? Uh, Maybe that would kinda like get in their ass a little bit, be like, "Wow, we just we're the reasons why Topper ain't here." Like, maybe they need to look at that. I don't know, but my thing is, I don't wanna go through another Andy Reid with like he did for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I mean, we would go to these NFC championship games, we would buy in, buy in, buy in, and then all we need to do is look at Joe Jordan Vicious. All we need to do is look at Rondé Barber, right? I mean, I still in my mind can't get out the fact that we lost the Carolina Panthers with Danny Manning Jr. and Jake Delhomme. Okay, so are you kidding me? Like, how the hell did we do that, man? Or it's just it fathoms me. It does. I don't know how that works, but I do think that there comes a point in time as an owner and as a general manager where you have to make a decision maybe that you may not want to make, and it's got to come. No more friendships. No more. I think Rob's a great guy. I think he's a great person. Not again. How my man, see you checking in says how dare you sully the good name of Jake? Jake Delhomme stinks. Like, are you kidding? I know you're laughing, see it, but my God, to think that the Philadelphia Eagles lost to Jake Delhomme. I cannot believe it, man. Like, honestly, I still go back to that and think about that team. And I know it's Steve Smith and all, but come on. Like, and John Fox outcoached Andy Reid. It's amazing. So I don't want that to be Topper, right? I don't want that to be Topper. Oh my God, that Rondé Barber play still haunts even to this day. Oh my God, you ain't lying. You are not lying. It really does, Ricky. I did not. What did I miss? Hold on. Okay. So all the comments are coming in, Ricky. I'm sorry. I'm glad you said that because I would have never saw it. So Ricky says, this is always a question that keeps rolling around Philadelphia, right? Says should the Phillies sign Pete Alonso to a contract because they could use a great player like Pete Alonso? I I have an issue that I can't sign a Pete Alonso and give him 7 years. Like Pete Alonso is going to get 6 or 7 years. I can't do it. Not for Pete Alonso. I just can't do it. Now, I understand that supposedly he's a great locker room presence. I get all that, but that's a lot of cash, man. That's a lot of cash for Pete Alonso. So I don't think I can do that. No, I mean, listen, I don't. I mean, I'm gonna the elephant in the room. I don't think we should sign Schwarber. I'm gonna be that guy that says I don't think we should sign Schwarber, and everybody's been like, "What are you out of your mind?" No, I'm dead serious. I think Kyle Schwarber knows he's gone. I think he understood, and here's why I think Kyle Schwarber knows he's not coming back. I don't think I don't think Kyle Schwarber thinks he's not coming back because the Phillies, he outpriced the Phillies. I don't think that's it at all. I think Kyle Schwarber is such a professional and such a student of the game that he realizes that because the Phillies couldn't close or at least get to the big dance, he knows in his mind that again, it's time for a new direction. And he thinks in his mind that, you know what, they're going to be like, look, as much as we love Kyle and we want Kyle back, unfortunately, we have to look because we're locked in to multiple contracts that are 100, $200 million, and we cannot afford to waste another 6-year deal on somebody that's going to bury some of the talent that we have in the minors. Now, I don't think they would have worried about any of that if they got to the big dance. They were like, but I think this changes things. When you get lumped out super early, way before you're expected to, it changes the mindset. It does. I do. I think it changed the ownership mindset. As much as Middleton loves Kyle Schwarber, as much I don't think it matters. Listen, here's a telltale sign. Here's a telltale sign. John Middleton wants to do everything in his power to bring back that trophy. He's paying people to bring back that trophy. I get it. However, he understands the business, right? He hasn't let his emotions get in the way. And I'll give you the example of how I think that. If he was an emotional owner that was misguided and just all like a Steve Cohen out there and with the Mets, then he would have extended Bryce Harper, but he didn't, and he didn't let his feelings get in the way. He loves Bryce. He loves what Bryce means, but he also looked at it and was like, "Wait, I don't know how I can do this." Right? I think he saw that. Right? I think he saw that. So I think the writing was on the wall there, and I think that going forward, that's something we have to look at. Man, my man Fuji is checking in with some great names, man. Mushin Muhammad. I remember Mushin Muhammad. So you had Steve Smith, you had Mushin Muhammad. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who the tight end was for that team. And I don't know if I can remember. Julius Peppers, obviously, Hall of Famer, right? Hall of Famer, definitely. Uh Ricky says, I feel bad for the Phillies. They haven't been a great team since they lost to the Astros. And they again that was the World Series they weren't even supposed to be in. That's the crazy part. Adam says, I think they were going to sign Schwarber. They would have signed him during the season. Well, that was actually the reason why, Adam, was to Schwarber's decision because if you remember, they started negotiations, early negotiations, and what they did was they didn't come to fruition. And Kyle Schwarber just said, I don't want to be negotiating contract during the season. Right. So because I didn't get him signed before the season, they were never going to sign him in season because he did not want to have negotiations within the season. Like he just didn't want that to happen. So that's the reason why he wasn't signed. Greg Olson was a tight end. Yeah, Greg Olson was a tight end. Will Ranger be back? JT probably back. That's a good question, Foods. That's a good question. Um, I want to play you this video, and Now, this is obviously we talked about Jimmy Rollins, but I want you to listen to Sean Casey and Brian Kinney here talk about what they think is going to happen with the Phils. So let me share my screen. All right. And I want you guys to listen to a minute and 57 seconds. Listen to the video, tell me what you think, and we'll come back right off of that and we will talk, obviously. All right, here we go. So
I'm torn on it too because the Phillies. This was in one way, a glorious Phillies era.
Yes.
The Schwarber Harper era. Look at all this success. By the way, Case, we ran the Cubs last 5 years, and it was like they're winning 74 games, and then they started winning again. These guys are winning 87, 90, 95, 96, but they had that lead on Arizona, going back to Philadelphia, ready to go back to the World Series, and it didn't happen. And look, they lose in the DS back-to-back years. How do you characterize this run?
Yeah, it's been a great run. It's been an unbelievable.
In a lot of ways.
BK, it just shows how hard it is to win the World Series. I'm sorry, so many things have to go right, the right times. Guys have to get hot, whatever that is. But when I look at the Phillies, and I like the one tweet out there was about John Middleton and Dave Dombrowski. As long as you have those guys running the show, you're going to get players. You're going to be in it. And also too, I think you've got to bring Schwarber back. Schwarber's the one guy I'm like, you got to bring him back.
I agree.
In that lineup, no doubt about it. But here's the other thing, BK. You now have a legitimate ace in Sanchez and Wheeler. I mean, I think Wheeler's going to come back and be fine. So the rotation to me sets up well. You still got a star in Bryce Harper. This is not over for the Phillies.
Now, you see, I'm with you on Dave Dombrowski is a Hall of Fame GM.
Right.
Their ownership has them a top 5 or top 4 payroll, so they're for real. However, look at the ages case. Like this is the reality of the situation, is that you will, when you buy big, you will rust out. And even Bryce Harper is going to be 33. Trey Turner is going to be 33. He's on contract forever. Schwarber also age 33 season. I'd pay Kyle Schwarber too, but what if suddenly out on the market he's getting 5-6 years?
Yeah.
You're going to pay him till 37, 38?
And the thing about Schwarbs, he's going to get it. He's going to get it.
I think so too.
He's going to get
Stock
5-6
is high.
years. And do you want to do it? Listen, if I'm the Phillies, yeah. I want to.
So you push it back in and keep pushing.
I mean, for at least for Schwarber, yes. I got to go get him.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I don't think their window closes. I think they're at a high level. But again, cautionary tale. Where were the Braves this year? So they're up on top, and suddenly, boom, it can happen, and you can age.
So right there, you listen to Brian Kenny, you listen to Sean Casey. Now they're national people, right? They're national people, and they're talking about they don't think the window is closing, right? They don't think the window. I do. I think the window is closed for this group, for this core. The window is closed, in my opinion. Adam says I think they have to sign JT because Marshawn is not ready to be an everyday starter. Yeah. Listen, Food says Ruben Amaro said this morning on WIP that he believes the Phillies will move on. Will move one of the big contracts in the offseason. I'm so curious about that, Foods, because I heard that too, and I'll tell you what, I am a Ruben Amaro fan. I've always I don't care. He gets a ton of hate. I get it. Everybody's mad that we didn't win. Whatever. Okay, he can't go out there and he can't play ball. He gave us everything we could to try to win that trophy. He gave us everything we could to get that second, right? Remember, Gillick won the first one. Okay, it was Pat Gillick. And then when he moved to consultant role, it was Rube. And Rube did everything. Rube did everything. Cliff Lee, Roy Oswalt, right? You name it. The 4 aces. He brought Pedro in, right? Yeah, exactly. The 4 aces, man. Like, he did everything he could. Hunter Pence, right? We wanted him. Rube went out. Rube was like, look, I am giving you everything I can. I want to win just as bad as you. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So if Rube says he thinks they're going to move on for one of the big contracts in the offseason, I'm curious because there's not many big contracts, right? And the one guy, right, Adam, you say Trey Turner, right? I don't know how that contract's even movable, right? I don't even know. I had no idea. Like, this is going to be a very, very interesting offseason because I am telling you right now that Dave Dombrowski John Middleton, both never, never thought that they would have lost in the first round. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to say that they wouldn't be surprised. Like maybe they got to the World Series and lost and things happen, but I don't think they ever thought that they would have lost in the first series. And I think that's going to change their entire mindset when it comes to the Philadelphia Phillies offseason. Now, one more clip. I want you to listen to Jimmy Rollins. Okay. Now, you heard the national guys say they still feel like the window's hot, the window's there, go all in, do this, do that. Now, sometimes when you're on the outside of Philadelphia, you don't really see what's going on the inside of Philadelphia, right? But when you talk to a former player, when you talk to a guy who gets it, a guy who's been there, a guy that has the pulse, his pulse and ear to the city and to the guys in the locker room because he knows how they're wired, understands management, understands the fans. I want you to listen to what Jimmy Rollins says because again, Jimmy says something a little different. And I'm curious. And then after that, we'll talk about who we think should stay, who we think should go, why, who could we trade, like so many different scenarios we can get into. So here again, I want you to listen to Jimmy Rollins and tell me what you think. Okay, Jimmy Rollins on what he says right here about the Phillies.
It kind of feels like the shutting of the window. You look at those names right there. These are the unrestricted free agents after this season. This is the oldest team in baseball. So you have to imagine a lot of changes are coming. Wheeler recovering from injury, but Schwarber, Realmuto, Suarez, the recent failure in the postseason. Is this the end of this era of Phillies baseball?
With this group, yes. I think the era can keep going on, meaning they can keep winning. They can find ways to get back to the playoffs because they're good enough to do that. They've proven it. But with this specific group, yes. I say two of those three guys probably won't be here. I'm not sure what the combination looks like. We know Schwarber's going to demand a lot of money, so is JT, and Ranger's going to demand some money also.
What a playoff performer
what type of year you want to get them. And Ranger, yes, these are guys that have shown up when it counted the most, so you're not going to keep them all. I mean, the Phillies, yes, they have a lot of money, but they have to be smart with it. You know, those days of just being able to go and sign guys for $300 million, that probably won't happen. It doesn't happen unless you start bringing them championships and they've fallen short. So they have to find a new mix, get a little bit more athletic, get some guys back that they feel can contribute, but also look in the minor leagues. You got young Crawford down there who had a hell of a year. It's time to give that kid a look. He's speed in some couple situations where if he wasn't starting in the playoffs, he would have been able to pinch run and change some things as we saw they turned out. But as far as this group of guys specifically, yes, that window's closed. But the era of winning and getting to playoffs and giving himself a chance to win a championship, that door is still open.
So I think what Jimmy said there is very, very interesting. He thinks the Phillies, again, bring back two of the three guys won't be back, right? And he's talking again, let's bring it up. He's talking about, obviously, those top three. When we talk about Schwarber, Realmuto, and Suarez, right? So I've thought about this a lot, and I continue to think about it. And I'll tell you what, man, it's so interesting. So here you go. Here's just looking at these from a common perspective here. And let's think about, again, you heard Jimmy. He talked about Crawford, right? He talked about Justin Crawford. He mentioned him specifically, right? There's another guy named Aiden Miller. There's another guy named Andrew Painter. I think eventually what's going to happen is we're going to look at this run as possibly two big blemishes, and those two blemishes could be Trey Turner and Aaron Nola. Now, hear me out for this, because when you have two massive contracts like they gave out to Aaron Nola and they gave out to Trey Turner, it obviously hinders everything that you're going to do going forward. right? It does. Let's be honest. And if you look at one person one person specifically, if I asked you, who would you rather have, Ranger Suarez or Aaron Nola? I think it's a no-brainer. You'd rather have Ranger Suarez, right? So instead of that, now you paid Aaron Nola. So now you're not going to be able to resign Ranger Suarez. Just not. And that's the thing. So you think about this, just say, he comes back healthy and everything's good, and you have Wheeler and you have Sanchez. For my money, if Wheeler's healthy, I don't care if he's 36 or not. If he's healthy and he's good, we probably have the best 1-2 punch in Major League Baseball, depending on what happens at free agency. Okay. And then now you have Jesus Luzardo, who I'll tell you what, proved for me that he's a goddamn dog. Like, he wanted that ball in game 4. He didn't care. He would have kept. I mean, he showed me he's got a huge set of nuts, man. Good for him. And I love it. I love it. So I think now he becomes your number 3, because obviously I don't think you're going to have Ranger Suarez. And then you go Nola, and then probably, hey, it could be Andrew Painter, right? I'm not sure, but my thing is, you made a big, big miscalculation. Unless the Phillies have a cave full of Brinks trucks lined up, because it's a Scott Boras client in Ranger Suarez, he's not going to be here. And then you have to think about Harrison Bader. Let's talk about Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader finally gave us and gave Topper the opportunity to platoon Nick Castellanos. And I love Nick Castellanos. I do. And I think he's come up at big moments for us over and over again. And they get overlooked because everybody's pissed off about his comments. Everybody's pissed off because maybe his attitude is different from time to time. Listen, man, this dude wears his emotions on his sleeves. He's a real dude. He was the first person to consult Orion Kerkering. Right? To me, for my money, I got no issue with Nick. I love Nick. However, we do know he has limitations. And because of that, we've been trying to lock down center field for how long? And we finally had it with Harrison Bader, which gave us the opportunity to platoon 3 guys in Kepler, Marsh, and Castellanos. Now, unfortunately, when we look at this, if you do not sign Harrison Bader, the odds are it's Justin Crawford's show next year. However, Max Kepler is gone. Okay? He's gone. It's a 1-year deal. I don't think they're bringing him back. And why would, for me, yeah, Bader has an option, but it's a mutual option. So they both have to agree on it, right? So that's my mindset. So I would hope that they can, but I really think that's got to be the focus, right? Because he has to agree too. It all comes about economics. So if he comes back and he's instantly your center fielder, you still can bring up Justin Crawford and put him in right or left. I think we all know that Nick Castellanos is going to be moved. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Right? He's very attractive in that perspective. He could still hit. He's the one guy who came up big again at the plate. He came up big. And unfortunately, the way this team is constructed, he's a guy that you're probably going to have to move, especially because of what's happened with the tension in the clubhouse between him and Topper and upper management. Right. And that's something you have to really be considerable of. David Robertson, gone. Jordan Romano, gone. Listen, no disrespect, Jose Alvarado, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with the Alvarado experiment. It's over. I think that knowing that you have Matt, I don't even like Matt Strom, unfortunately, though, but he's re-signed because if you remember, Dombrowski talked about he had that flyer in his contract that he had to pass a physical at a certain time, and he passed the physical, it automatically, that option is automatically kicked in. So he is signed for the 2026 season, right? So you already have Matt Strom. So I know lefties are a premium, but Alvarado to me, he's just broken. And I don't think it's salvageable. So and I don't want to waste time to think that it's salvageable. Okay. I just don't. Um, let's get to JT Realmuto. So I know JT is going to be 36. I understand. But I've said this before, and I'll continue to say this, that this is Yadier Molina all over again for the St. Louis Cardinals. Right? Yadier Molina, even when he got into his upper 30s, was still a productive player. But the biggest thing about Yadier Molina was he knew how to control the pitching staff, and he was a phenomenal leader, and he could still play a hell of a defensive role, which is exactly what JT is. And for the money, JT was the one bat who actually hit this this postseason. Okay, so I think that JT, you have to find a way to bring JT back, and this is why I keep saying that I don't think there's a world where you're bringing back Kyle Schwarber. I know everybody's gonna think I'm nuts, and I get it. That's fine, but again, you can't pay everybody. You just can't. Now, if you told me that the one contract that they were able to move would be Trey Turner somehow, some way, and again, bring up Aiden Miller, and then you resign, that's fine. I don't see it. Okay. I don't see it. I think Turner is locked in here for the next 5 to 6 years. I do. I mean, not just because of his contract, but just because it's going to be untradeable. Okay. I know he just won a batting title, but still, I mean, you're not paying for a guy to win a batting title. You're paying him $300 million because he was supposed to give you a mix of power and contact, and he didn't give you that. Okay. He didn't give you that. So let's be honest there. So you have to think about that. So JT to me is a priority. He to me is an absolute priority. And I look at, okay, so I would say Bader, you figure out that mutual option, and I would bring him back. Obviously, I would really want to bring him back, or I would figure out a way to bring JT Realmuto back. But unfortunately, I think Kyle Schwarber's the guy that goes. Alec Bohm. People keep asking, should we trade Alec Bohm? Can we trade Alec Bohm? I would love to trade Alec Bohm. I like Alec Bohm. However, he's going to be like the next. I think it's this year too. It's got to be some kind of vested option and arbitration option that they got to figure out. It's going to cost money. Not a ton of money but enough to where I think he's very attractable and he played well in the postseason. Right. So I just think that you need a revamp of this lineup. And I do think that it's probably going to be without Alec Bohm. Okay. I don't know who plays where. I'm just giving you my analysis on what I think is going to happen and what needs to happen. And I think that we have to start talking about it being a point of emphasis that you can't sign everybody, right? You just can't sign everybody. Just can't. Do I think I trade for Stephen Kwan? I mean, I don't think you could trade for Stephen Kwan. I mean, it takes two to tango, and I just don't think that happens. Now, Ricky says Phillies have to keep Bader and Kyle and Suarez and JT and let all the rest of the other players leave. If it was that easy, Ricky, maybe, but it's not, and that's the issue. And I keep telling you guys, and I'm going to continue to hammer this home. Okay, I keep telling you that you have to start looking at the way the Dodgers have done things, and the way the Dodgers got taken over the top. Who took the Dodgers over the top? It wasn't Ohtani. It wasn't Freddie Freeman. It wasn't Mookie Betts. It was Teoscar Hernandez. It was that one different bat to come in the lineup to really make everything work. And that's what the the Philadelphia Phillies are missing, right? That's what they're missing. And I think they need to look for that, right? I do. I think they need to look for that. Now, what I will say is I think they need to be creative, right? I think they need to be creative. Listen, I would love to have Ranger Suarez back. And the reason why I say that is that guy is not phased by anything. You could put him in multiple situations. You could put him wherever you want. The guy just does it all. Calm, cool, collective, right? Calm, cool, and collective. So to me, that and again, one of the reasons why the A's are so important is because now, if you bring in a different kind of guy, maybe a power right-handed power bat, and again, it can't be Alonso because I just think he's going to want so much. Listen, I just don't think the Phillies are going to be willing to offer anybody 6-7 years. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't. I don't think they value that anymore. I don't think that's going to happen. But think about this too. I heard somebody bring up a good point, and I want you guys to think about how that postseason roster was constructed. You could have had the guy. Does the sound still mess up? About him? Should be good now. Should be good now. Let me know now. My mic went out for a second, and for some reason it went out, came back in. I'm not sure, but I mean, looks like the sound's good now. So let me know. I got all my volume going. But yeah, I mean, I looked at it to where, in in this postseason, sound system's not working. What's going on? Hold on. How about now? Oh, guys, can you hear me? Can you hear me? My sound went out and it came back in. Sound went out, came back in. Let me know if you hear me now. All right, let me know if you can hear me now. Mic is breaking up. I wonder what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. Keep going in and out. Let's see. Do. I don't want to use that mic. Can you hear that? It probably sounds terrible though, because that's my other mic. I'll flip it back and forth. I don't know what's going on. It's fading. Yeah, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I don't know what's going on. Let me say. All right, let's try that. Still can't hear you. All right. I don't know what's going on here. I can see my levels. Levels look good. I can hear myself. Yeah. Still messed up. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on. Sometimes technical difficulties happen. Right? Let me see if I do a couple options here. Hold on. Let's see. All right. How about now? Can you hear me? Is it still messed up? Is it still messed up? Let me know. Because I all my levels look good. So I'm not sure what's going on. You talking so much. Yeah. Like, yeah, it is what? Sound back? Like, can everybody hear? Am I good? Or am I still breaking up? Still messed up. Yeah, what the hell is going on? Hold on. Hold on. All right. How about that? Let's try this again. Let's try this again and see if it's choppy. Anybody else? It's still choppy. Super choppy. Still breaking up. God damn, man. What is going on here? I don't know what's going on, fellas. I don't know what's going on. The world of technology. Yeah, I know. I really want to start another stream. It's just so terrible. I mean, you have to do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's so weird. So weird. All right, well, look, we're going to roll. I'll be doing another one soon. Not sure what's going on. Not sure what's going on with the sound. I don't get it. I have no idea. Never usually have this issue. Well, unfortunately, now I've got the issue. I'm not sure what it is. Still choppy, I'm guessing. If I'm still choppy, let me know. If I am, I'll get out of here. And we will come back another time. Control Alt Delete. Bro, I got a big soundboard here. I've done that. Everything. I've shut it off. I've shut it down. Hold on for 1 second. All right. Yo, let me know if that works. Let me know if it's still choppy and let me know. I just reset my whole soundboard. I reset everything. Everything rolling around. Gotta let me know if it's you got we back. All right. Can you hear me now? So weird. I don't know. Better. All right. Yeah. I had to reset my whole soundboard. That like never happens, man. Never happens. Clear but slower speed. Not sure what that means. Good now. Okay. Yeah, it happened to me last stream. Like it came in and was like, oh, it was like lost connection with your mic. How the hell do I lose connection with my microphone? Like I'm sitting there, right? Look, man, sometimes it's live, right? It's live, so you just never know what's gonna happen. Just never know what's gonna happen, right? So hold on. Let me get back to I don't even know where I was at. Glitches. Oh, dude, it's terrible. My listen. The thing is, foods, I'm gonna be honest with you. What bothers me is I've spent thousands of dollars on equipment. Like, no joke. Like, I'm not saying that people like legitimately like soundboards and microphones and high speed, like I get the high speed internet possible. Like I can't stand when things happen. It pisses me off. Like it ain't supposed to happen, right? It's not supposed to happen, right? It's not supposed to happen. So, so let's get back to what we were talking about with some of the players and some of the younger players. And what I was talking about with the Dodgers was it took a guy like Teoscar Hernandez to come back and legitimately just say, we're going to take this guy, put him in the middle of our lineup. He's going to make everything go. All right. And that to me is what made a difference with the Dodgers. Now, again, can the Phillies do that? I don't know. Is that guy out there? I don't know. And I think that's one of the things that listen, Dave Dombrowski is going to have to figure out. Like Dombro is going to have to figure this shit out. It's very very simple. He's going to have to figure this out, and that's why I keep saying, big change is coming. Now, Ricky says, Tony, if Kyle ends up going to another team, then the Phillies should go after Pete Alonso. It, I just I don't like Pete, man. I just don't think again, it's funny. I heard somebody say that we miss Reese Hoskins, and I never thought I would miss Reese Hoskins. But maybe they do miss Reese Hoskins, right? Maybe they do. Hey, you know what, Foods? I don't know if I agree. I don't know. Fuji says Dombrowski should be on a hot seat. I disagree. I disagree because I mean, what does he need to be on the hot seat about? The players that these players that didn't produce. Number one, he didn't sign Bryce Harper, right? Matt Klintak signed Bryce Harper. He was one of the people that obviously got certain people here, right? He was big with Christopher Sanchez coming off the international market and giving him that fantastic contract that it's a team friendly deal, right? He's the one who goes out and gets Johan Duran, which we definitely needed, right? Goes out and get Harrison Bader, which we definitely needed, right? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I'll argue anybody that are blue in the face about Nick Castellanos. I have no problem with him paying Nick Castellanos to bring him here because Nick Castellanos was a big part of a lot of things that we've done. He's had multiple big hits in many series and in the postseason. So you can't tell me that Nick Castellanos was the guy. You can't look at him now, right? You can't look at him now. And you could say whatever you want about Max. I'm not a big Max Kepler guy. However, Max Kepler did show and prove that he was an integral part of that outfield. He even came up big in the postseason. So why does Dombrowski need to be on the hot seat? Dombrowski can't go out and make these guys play. Dombrowski cannot make a $927 million lineup play. Okay, Dombrowski paid for the talent of guys like Trey Turner, right? He paid for that. He went out and guess what? Dombrowski is the one guy. He gave Kyle Schwarber more money than anybody to come here in Philadelphia in the first place. Gave him more money. Everybody thought he was nuts. And how'd that work out? So I completely disagree. This has, in my opinion, this has nothing to do with Dave Dombrowski. It doesn't. I mean, I don't know. Like, who did you want to? Like, here's what happens with us in Philadelphia. We always want to point fingers at everybody except the players, right? We just do. I mean, I don't know what better players Dombrowski was supposed to get, right? He kept all his top talent, all his top prospects, right? He kept them all, right? He got one of the best closers in the game, right? And he had a huge deal that again to bring the Harrison Bader that completely changed the landscape of that outfield. So I mean, I just Foods, I disagree. I don't think he should be on the hot seat. Tony, what do you have against Pete? Why do you hate him? I don't hate Pete. I don't. I want to preface it. I don't hate anybody. I dislike a lot of people, right? I dislike a lot of people, but the reason why I don't like Pete for this team is because I don't want another batter that's up there swinging and flailing and always going for the home run. Like again, man, like I'm so tired of that. Like, I don't want to pay this guy the amount of money that I think he's going to get. And we're going to be stuck with another big contract. I just don't see it. And then not to mention, now obviously Kyle goes, yeah, you could DH him or maybe Bryce DHs and they flip back and forth to first base and DH. I don't know. I mean, listen, I mean, maybe as a fallback or something. I don't know. I have to look at who's available, what they could do. But I do think that I am curious to see how Dombrowski gets creative in this offseason. I'm so glad we didn't. I did not want Juan Soto. I didn't want Juan Soto. I'm so glad. What he's a turd, man. I'm sorry. Like he just brings teams down. I've said that all the time. I'll continue to say it. I wanted nothing to do with Juan Soto. Zero. Not with the attitude. You saw what happened. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, he says all season is going to be wild. It's going to be nuts. It is. It's going to be crazy because they're going to have to make a lot of decisions now. If they could somehow pull off, I mean, look, crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened, right? So think about this. And I don't know if this is true. And I don't know, but I'm just thinking about this literally on the air live right now. I'm thinking about it. I'm legitimately thinking about this right now at this moment. So, what if, and I know they had the plan all along with Nola pitching those first 2 innings and then bringing in Ranger Suarez. Well, what if in the back of their mind, they were like, look, if Knowles goes strong in those first 2 innings, we absolutely are taking him out. Do not leave him in. Like, say if the plan going in was like, listen, if he gets to those 2 innings, he looks really good, maybe keeping him for another inning. And what if they called that? Because I still think that they do this. Okay. I still think, and I know everybody know, but the GMs are 100% involved in these decisions. You can say what the hell you want, but there's so many times that they're pulling some strings that we don't even know about when it comes to lineup and it comes to pitchers, right? So what if they were like, yo, after 2 innings, no matter what, no thought about it. It has to go to Suarez because now he's even more, more juicy of a guy that's a trade candidate as a starting pitcher. Because they showed how bad he was. However, he got better towards the end when he came back, and now he pitches in the postseason, and he shows that he's a lockdown pitcher for 2 innings. Maybe that was enough interest that they needed. Maybe that was enough of a sample size they need to try to possibly move Aaron Nola so they can keep Ranger Suarez. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like again, we're all just speculating. That's the thing. Like we're all just speculating. Like I know I was getting on Twitter wars with people about the Eagles and about why trading AJ Brown and I don't know what I'm talking about because of a cap hit and this that. Listen, where there's a will, there's a way. At the end of the day, when there's a will, there's a way. We've seen crazier things. So again, Nola is now a reliever. John says, you know what, John? I there's no way that's going to happen. Not for his price tag or what they're paying him. He'll be the highest paid reliever in Major League Baseball. No way that's happening. No way. There's definitely no way that's going to happen. However, if you're a team that's looking for a good number 3 or number 2, and with the market being what it is, I mean, maybe they can move him and the money they save goes right into Ranger and they sign Ranger and now again you're looking at a rotation of Wheeler, Sanchez, Luzardo, Ranger, and Painter, right? I mean, I don't know. Okay. I don't think any of us know. I don't think any of us know. So I mean, I definitely think it's something for us to look at, right? I do think it's something for us to look at. I do think that in the end, it's definitely going to come down to dollars and cents, right? It's definitely going to come down to dollars and cents. And I think that when they made that deal for Nola, it was there, right? They thought about it. There was a lot of questions about certain things, but now maybe I don't think they regret it, but maybe now that the way this all ended and went down, they start thinking about it and they're like, you know what? Maybe we can get creative. Maybe we could do something, right? I don't know. Listen, we're all speculating right now. In a perfect world, we want everybody. I'm just going to be honest. Like my frustration is if we've gone down this road multiple times, you know, bringing back Kyle Schwarber at that price tag is going to hinder anything else that we can really do. So we're going to buy in again. We're going to buy in again to Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and Trey Turner carrying us. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. It's not going to work later. It's just not. So you have to get different. You have to really, really tailor this lineup much differently. And that's going to mean not bringing back Haas Schwarber. Again, unless you want to go all in again. If you want to go all in and ride this team down the sunset again, ride or die, that's up to you. That means you bring back Schwarber, you pay him whatever he wants. Okay, you're now going to go into stupid money with JT and Kyle and I want JT back, but I don't think you bring JT and Schwarber back. I think it's going to be you're going to have to pick, right? I think you're going to have to pick. Now, John says, love the guy. He's talking about Nola. He says, but he couldn't make it past the fourth inning or pitch the whole season. Listen, I don't disagree. It was very disappointing. Very disappointing. You know, it's funny though, John, because, and I'm sure you go back a little bit like I do. I would say that he reminds me at times. He gives us visions of Greg Maddux. Now, obviously, he's not Greg Maddux, but what I mean is he gives us flashes of that inside corner fastball, right? That he can hit on both sides. Paint the black. I said all the time, paint the black of the home run. I mean, the black of the home plate. And his pitches are eerily similar. And when you get up in age and you're not going to hit 97, 98 anymore, and you're going to be around 93, 94, that's what you have to do. And Greg Maddux made a living of doing that, right? He was a doctor up there on the mound. You watched it. We all watched it. I mean, he knew how to hit his spots. And that's the kind of pitcher that Nola is right now. And if he does hit his spots, he's spot on. The problem is he hasn't been able to consistently hit his spots. And that's why he's prone to giving up a long ball or two because he misses his spots. And just like Matt Strom, anybody can hit a 92, 93 mile an hour flat fastball. That's what they do. They park it, just like Teoscar did. Okay, against us in game 1. That's what they do. So part of me says, "Oh man, I see that note, but he's just not consistent enough. He's just not consistent enough. Just not. I mean this whole off season is going to be so predicated on what they do with this lineup, man. It is. It's I've said this before. I made a comparison on the show I did 2 days ago that this team reminds me of, or I should say, the New York Giants is what we kind of need on a baseball team. And hear me out for a second. The New York Giants with Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart and these new guys, this new energy they brought into New York, they revitalized that team. They revitalized the crowd. They revitalized the coaching staff. I never saw Brian Dable so happy. Like, they brought a newfound energy into that team. And sometimes that's what you need. Now, Bader did that at the trade market. He did that. But that's why I think that we really have to look at teams like that and see the successful reward that you get, inserting this new young talent. And I think bringing up a guy like Justin Crawford and Aiden Miller and bringing up these guys and insertion of energy. You saw it with Crow out there in Chicago. You need to do that. When was the last time we've done that? Really? Think about it. When was the last time we've done that? And I'm not talking about Otto Kemp. What I'm talking about is guys that we've drafted that are homegrown, that are coming up instantly and giving us that new energy when it comes to positional players. When have we done that? I haven't seen it in a while. Right? Now, remember, I mean, like this year or last year, but remember in 2022, what happened? Everybody started talking about the daycare, right? Guys like Bryce and Stott, who came up and he inserted a new energy into the team, right? I mean, Alec Boehm at that time, inserted a new energy into the team, right? I mean, think about it. We need that again. And I think that's why this offseason, that has to be a realistic option. And that may mean not bringing back Kyle Schwarber, right? So let's think about this. If I said to you that we bring back Bader on a good mutual option. We re-sign JT, and we go out and get a right-handed power hitter for the lineup. That's gonna hit 30 to 35 home runs, knocking 120, and we don't bring back Kyle Schwarber. Are you happy with that? I mean, we have to think about it. Like, are you happy with that? Now, I get it. He's a locker room leader, and I will say this: if that's the case, it still didn't help us this year, man. Sorry, Tony. It makes perfect sense for the Phillies to get Pete Alonso if Kyle ends up going to another team. If it's okay if you disagree with me, but the Phillies will still be a dangerous team. What? Right? Listen. Honestly, Ricky, I agree. Like I said, I agree. As long as they don't have to pay him 6 years. That's my problem. And I think he's gonna get a 6, 7-year contract. I do. I think he's gonna get a 6, 7-year contract. You know, Teoscar Hernandez didn't get that when he first came over, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to look at certain guys, that are gonna, and if you're gonna get a 6 or 7-year deal, it better be somebody that's a little younger and that could do a little more, in my opinion. Maybe it is a guy like a Kyle Tucker. I don't know. I don't know where this goes, but I think it's something we have to look about. John says, "What about Wheeler? Do you think he's done?" That's an interesting question, John, because he was pitching so goddamn well. And at first, when the injury happened, and I was like, "Oh man, I don't think he's gonna be back. I think this is it." The more I thought about it, and the more I thought about how he's kind of structured out his career, and seeing him in uniform with the Phillies for the series coming out, being announced, I was down there. I mean, we were all going crazy. It gave me a different mindset. I think this dude's driven to come back. I do, and I think he's going to be very good. Do I think we're going to get the Zach Wheeler at 2.25 ERA? I don't know. I don't know, but this guy is just such a student of the game with the way he trains and the way he sets forth his routines. I have a hard time thinking that he won't come back and be productive. Right? I do. I have a hard time thinking that he won't come back and be productive. So I do think, and again, obviously a final year, right? So it's like, this is it, right? I mean, when you think about it, um, again, I do. He's 36. I get it. But when he signed that, they said it was going to be his last deal, right? They said it was going to be his last deal. And he's listen, it's like the John Cena retirement tour, right? It's like the John Cena retirement tour. He says it's over, man. Like, when it's over, it's over. So I think Zach comes back, John, and I think he does well. I do. I think he's going to come back as the machine. I don't think that we can honestly say, yeah, he'll be back to that stature again. I just don't think it. Ricky says, Tony, think about it. Pete Alonso is a great player and a good teammate. He's a good leader. Yes, Ricky, I agree. I just can't in my honest opinion. I can't or I don't want to. I'll just say I don't want to, right? So I can. Like, it's one thing I've learned in therapy, like my therapist will always say, it's not that you can't, it's you won't. So I'm gonna rephrase that, and she'll be proud of me. They can, I just don't want them to. How's that? Right? I just don't want to because the years and the age. Vegas says, give us the Liberty Bell, the Rocky statue, and the second best Philly cheesesteak place, and you can have Paul Skeens. Oh man, yeah, I'll tell you what, man. That's Paul Skeens, man, that would be fantastic. Poor Paul is just going to dwindle away in Pittsburgh, man. Such a shame. Such a shame. It really is. But Pete is a Met. Yeah, we're not supposed to like those Mets, right, John? We're not supposed to like any of those Mets. Hey, I'll tell you what. Who I was so happy for. So happy they didn't make the playoffs was Juan Soto. So happy. I was so happy for Juan. They get to go play golf early. So happy. Don't be surprised if they don't make a run at Kyle Schwarber. the Mets. And you think about it, man. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. That could definitely happen. That could definitely happen. You're right, Adam. We just have to sit back and see what happens. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, man. We sit back, and unfortunately, an entire offseason, we get to watch the other teams in the playoffs. We get to watch more of a World Series that does not have the Philadelphia Phillies in it, right? Um, that's okay, Ricky. Yes, please do. Ricky says if the Phillies sign Pete Alonso to a contract, I'm going to tell you that I was right. I would listen. I say this all the time, which is great. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong because I'll say I'm wrong. It's fine. I have no problem. I hope. Listen, if they sign him and it works out, be great, man. Oh man, I like Doc and Daryl. That was about it for the Mets. I'll tell you what. I was a huge Mets fan back in the day. I'm not gonna lie. Growing up, I was growing up, I watched a ton of sports. That's why I have the knowledge that I have. I used to love watching the Mets in the late 80s. Honestly, I was a Gary Carter guy. I was a Wally Backman guy, Howard Johnson, Kevin McReynolds, obviously Daryl, like you mentioned, you know, Lenny Dykstra when he was a Met, Keith Hernandez. You go in the mail, man, where David Cohn started and Doc Gooden, right? Sid Fernandez. I mean, I was a big Mets guy. Kevin McReynolds. I was a huge Mets guy back then. Like, because they were exciting. They were an exciting team, right? Gary Carter. They were an exciting team. Definitely. John says Yankees are going to take some of our players or the Marlins, like Dalton. That was hard watching Izzy and Dalton when we were man. Yeah, that sucked. That did. I remember that. I mean, I'm 47, right? So, I definitely I remember that like it was yesterday. I do. Because that was like really, really, really getting in to baseball at that young age. And I was happy for Darren because he was able to win. But man, to see Dutch not be able to win it here, but have to go somewhere else to win it, yeah, that does suck. I does suck. Javon says, if you're the Phillies, do you make a run at Adley Rushman? Always have Samuel Basello, who also plays the same position as Adley. Adley Rushman, yeah, listen, Adley Rushman left-handed, and you know that would definitely be one of those. Javon, obviously I think me and Javon had a lot of home run props on Adley Rushman over the years, but I think that's the if you let Kyle go, you add a guy like Adley, right? So and I would be in. I would listen. I would be in for that, right? I think I would be in. I would be in for that, literally, because I think he offers you a lot of different things that maybe we're not thinking about. So let's look at. So you bring up a good name, man. I like that's why I love when you guys bring up names and we have to think about it, right? So Adley Rushman, obviously, he's another guy that's he could be a DH or a catcher. So the interesting thing about this, and Javon, you may be thinking about the same thing, is I look at this name right off the bat and knowing a guy that can catch and DH, I say it's a gold mine. If you let Kyle go and you bring back JT Romuto, because now you have the opportunity to catch a bona fide catcher, bona fide major league catcher when JT's not in lineup, and you give JT a break with that at that age, that contract, and you allow him to DH, and then you can kind of move him back and forth, right? You could kind of move them back and forth. So I think they play off each other, which I think is fantastic. So I love the Adley Rushman name. I do. I love Adley Rushman from that. especially for that perspective, right? I mean, here's a guy again who, when healthy, right? When healthy, he's gonna give you 20 to 25 home runs. Okay. That's what he's gonna give you, 20 to 25 home runs. What's listen, I'm in. I mean, listen, he's a career in 4 years, he's a career 254 hitter. Now, if you take out the 90 games he played this year because of injuries and stuff, where he only batted 220, he's probably more like a 270, maybe 265. Right? I'm gonna take that. I mean, listen, again, when you think about it, his all-star year, and again, he finished second rookie of the year in 2022. Right? He also he was in the MVP vote. I think he finished ninth in 2023. But again, Silver Slugger Award, hit 277, 80 RBIs, 20 home runs. He did strike out 101 times, right? So you are, you are looking at a guy that is going to strike, but so is Kyle Schwarber, right? So is Kyle Schwarber. I think this could be one of those tweener perfect signings that I keep thinking about, right? Honestly, that I was talking about. Again, my man Robert checking in says, I'm still crushed over that 11th inning blunder. We got to find some clutch bats. Robert, I'll tell you, bro. Like, I don't want to watch it anymore. I don't. I don't want to watch it because, like, I was watching the Tigers and the Mariners last night, and I was just so much more excited. I don't know why. Right? I don't know why, man. Like I was like, wow, why am I so excited watching these two teams? But I was less excited watching my own. And it's because they were just so disappointing for so long. I think that's really my case. That was really killing me. Vegas said Kevin McReynolds played for the LV Stars and John Kruk, the Las Vegas Stars. He hit one over the scoreboard and one hopped into the graveyard across the street. I like going back and watching old games, Adam says, and all sports seeing players everyone has forgotten about. For sure. Like I'll be honest with you, Adam, I completely agree. I just watched I don't know if anybody watched it, but on Netflix, the documentary about the Orlando Magic with Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal, how that fell apart. I'll tell you what, man, it brought me back. It brought me back. I was looking at, man, some of those names and players that I forgot about. My lord, man. God, Penny Hardaway was special. If only his knee wasn't bad. Such a shame. But yeah, I mean, listen, Robert, I want to get your opinion, Robert, because you're just checking in. My buddy said to me today, we were talking, and he got mad at me because I said I don't think they should bring Kyle Schwarber back. And he said I was out of my mind. I I personally, Robert, I'd love to hear your thought, but I would personally not bring Kyle Schwarber back just because if you look at the entire landscape of the amount of money that he's going to need, right? The amount of money that's going to hurt your cat, your self-imposed cat with, right? But it's going to hinder so many other moves that my man Javon just brought up a great name in Adley Rushman, who plays catcher and DH. Listen, if he stays healthy at the bank, he's going to hit 20, 25 home runs. He's going to bat 270, 275. He can catch and he can DH. So, in my opinion, you bring back JT because the pitching staff loves him. The pitching staff absolutely loves him, and the pitching staff was unbelievable, was elite without Zach Wheeler in this series, which is crazy, was elite. So I look at that, and I'm like, you have to bring JT back. So if you bring JT back and you go out and get a guy like an Adley Rushman, right? So now you're working in a different area. Bring up the young kids and Justin Crawford, Hayden Miller. Bring up Andrew Painter, and who knows? Maybe you have the ability to move an Aaron Nola, right? And you can re-sign Ranger Suarez. Again, these are things that I think that are options. Harrison Bader has a mutual option. I think that can be worked out to where he comes back at least this year. And then when some of the dead money falls off, right, of some of those big contracts, then maybe that money can shift into Harrison Bader signing for a 4 or 5 year deal. So I just think that there's more limitations on this team than people are thinking about if you bring back Kyle Schwarber. I know everyone wants to say he's got to be back. There's no ending for butts. He's got to do it. But if this owner has a self-imposed cap of where he wants to be and where he's willing to go, and Kyle Schwarber comes back and it kind of sucks up most of that, then how are we ever going to get better? How are we ever going to get different? That's my thought. And I listen, if I'm wrong, that's fine. I'm trying to think of this in a different perspective, right? It's easy for me to come on here and just say, oh, yeah, gotta go get Schwarbs. Gotta go get Schwarbs. It's not always the case, man. It's always the case. You have to look at everything. You have to look at everything. But yeah, man, listen, I'm gonna close this out like I always do. Last night or 2 nights ago, we went 2 hours and 15 minutes, which was a fantastic show. I think we all need to vent, we all need to talk, we all need to figure out. Um, Tonight was more of what are we going forward doing, right? If you're just joining, you're just checking in, I would definitely say go back and rewind the show, watch on replay. I played a couple great clips from Sean Casey on MLB Network, Jimmy Rollins. Read a great article on ESPN that alluded to the ages of these players and how it's eerily similar to what happened to the Phillies after 2011. So it's something that we have to be very weary of. I think it was a fantastic article. Brought up some great stats and ages. So go back and check that out. Robert says, let Bohm, Schwarber, Stock can walk. Let's get serious and build a championship team. Listen, I'll tell you, man, I'm with you. I'm with you with that. Again, I just think that we need a new identity, right? We need a new identity. Adam, thanks, brother. Says, great show, Tony. Keep up the great work. You are the man. Listen, I missed all but the last 15 minutes. All good, brother. All good. I appreciate everybody checking in, man. Like, subscribe. Tony, are you going to be live stream for the Blue Jays and Mariners game? I don't live stream for the games. I don't. I honestly, I like to watch them, and I like to kind of give my analysis. Like, listen, I'm an old school guy, man. Like, I'll show you. Like, I'm a paper and like this is me, man. I'm a paper and pen guy, man. Like, I write my notes down when I watch it. I write all my notes down and what I want to talk about. John says, is there a salary cap looming? Was there a rumor of Harper having an argument with Matt? Yes. That wasn't a rumor, that was real. It wasn't with management, it was with Rob Manfred, right? The commissioner. It wasn't with management. It was, he's part of obviously the players union, and Manfred being obviously the company guy, meaning listen, he's the head of Major League Baseball. They want a cap. Harper does what the players don't want a cap, right? So I think there'll be and I think Vegas asked this, are you in favor of a salary cap? I am in, as long as it's limited. I think there's a way to do like a soft cap, right? I think it's a soft cap for sure. So I do think that that's possible. I do. Vegas says, have a great night, everyone. Pick only. Absolutely. I got my picks. They'll be in the morning. I'll be doing a quick stream in the morning, talking all my fantasy picks, my DFS picks, and obviously my bets. Hopefully we can have another good week on some of the plus money bets. I got 2 monster parlays that I want to throw out there on some really good guys. So make sure you tune in tomorrow as well. But listen, as always, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody, man, I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate you. You make me want to come on here and continue to do this, which is a really cool thing. Like I said, I miss being on the radio. However, it is nice to be able to do this right in my own space, in my own area, and not to run something by a program director, not to just say, listen, this is what I want to talk about, this way I want to talk about it. And again, this is how I want to do it. So that's what I will continue to do. And guys, honestly, the only way I can continue to do it is if you keep supporting the channel, and literally just like and subscribing and tuning in is good enough for me. So I appreciate it, everybody. As always, have a fantastic evening. Make sure you continue to like, make sure you continue to subscribe, continue to tune in. Obviously, and start talking again. I'm gonna bring some evergreen content back. Like I said, I am a sports historian. I like to talk about sports from back in the day. So I've been watching a lot of these 30 for 30s. It's really got my mind going. I really want to start talking about, like I told you guys, top threes. Talk about, you know, players that we may have forgotten about. Like Adam says, he goes back and watches games, and he's like, "Oh my god, I forgot about these guys." Right. So I definitely want to do that. I do want to get into some WNBA talk too. I feel very strongly about what's going on with the negotiations with the CBA. So I did definitely want to talk about that, because again, this is the Tony Cutillo show, where it's not just Philly, right? Whether it's NBA, whether it's Major League Baseball, NFL, whether it's everyday life, whether it's youth sports. Again, Fighting for Overtime is a great youth sports podcast that I had going 2 years strong now. It's available everywhere. Just go look Fighting for Overtime. It's actually scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You can go anywhere you get your podcast from. It is a very good show, not just because I host it, but because I have some fantastic guests and continue to get great guests on as well. So, yeah, just keep 4 more matches for John Cena. Yes, 4 more. And that match in Perth against AJ Styles was unbelievable. I am a huge John Cena guy, right? Can't see me, right? Um, Huge John Cena guy. And I just, it's a part, like my daughter texts me nice, like, Dad, is a part of my childhood. My daughter's 25. So, we watched that together, man. And yeah, it's part of my early parenthood and her childhood. And it's a shame that it's going away. I'm a big wrestling fan, if anyone doesn't know, and love John Cena, love what he's done for the business, and love everything about what he's done and what he continues to do, man. Yeah, the Marine. Yeah, the Marine. Absolutely. From that movie, right? The Marine. So as always, like I said, everybody just continue to keep pumping out the likes and the views and the subscribes. That helps me most. But most importantly, man, everybody just stay safe and stay healthy. I say all the time, 'cause we live in some crazy times out there, a lot of things going on. And as always, every day is special. Every day above ground is a good day, because you just never know. You just never know how your life can change in an instant. So everybody have a fantastic evening. Well, I say morning, rest of the morning. Have fun watching football tomorrow. Whoever your favorite team is, go whoever. For me, it's go Birds, but obviously they just lost to the Giants. So we're not going to get into that. Tony, root for them. Dodgers, buddy. Go Dodgers. Going to humble. I'm in all Dodgers. I'm all Dodger blued up. How's that, Ricky? I'm all Dodger blued up. All right. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Stay safe, stay healthy, and get back to you here next time. Yeah.